My name is Ross Purchase, for those of you who don't know me. I'll just give you a little brief testimony on my experience I've had with ACE so far. I started homeschooling with ACE in around 1992. I think my family was probably about the third family in Zimbabwe to start doing it at the time, so it was relatively unknown. In November 2000, my family and I moved to the UK because of the political situation. And in 2002, I started working at an ACE school in Northampton. And later on, in 2003, I got a job at CE where I was working mainly in the warehouse and just helping out in the office, and orders and things like that. Shortly after, I went to Egypt for 3 months. I was helping with a family who wanted to start up an ACE school out there. So it was just really homeschooling their children, showing them how the curriculum worked and things like that. After that, I came back to the UK, carried on working at CE, and in the curriculum development department, working with Mr. Dalpesh over email, try and help with the French curriculum development. But in 2007, I left CE to start a job at Pearson Education, where I'm currently working with the Learning Technologies Group. Okay, there's a saying which goes, give a man a fish, and he'll be fed for a day. Teach a man a fish, and he'll be fed for a lifetime. But perhaps what we should add to that is introduce him to the one who makes us fishers of men, and he'll be fed for eternity. Fortunately, not just with fish. But to me, this is true education. Currently, I'm working for the largest educational publisher in the world. I think there's something like 32,000 people working for Pearson Education. And everything they do is all about learning. The motto is always learning. And I think that's very much the world's mindsets. To take people out of poverty, give them better education. To stop corruption, give them better education. To make the bankers act more responsibly, give them a better education on how to deal with the finances. But the evidence doesn't actually support this. If you take a poor, uneducated man and give him an education, just an education, all you're going to end up with is an educated thief. A poor, uneducated thief, and give him an education, all you're going to end up with is an uneducated thief. In Galatians 6 verse 8 sums this up when it says, he who sows to the flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. After all, education in itself simply brings about knowledge. And the Bible says that knowledge puffs up. But wisdom, on the other hand, which the Bible tells us to seek, is the correct application of knowledge and understanding. And this is why I value my education with AAC, my Christian education. In my career, especially working for a secular company, it hasn't been my knowledge of facts and figures which I found the most beneficial for my day-to-day life. Yes, these are useful, but what I've relied on the most and found the most relevant for day-to-day work was education of morality, love for one another, responsibility, and most importantly, accountability to God. Only possible from an education where God is in the center and His Word is central. These biblical tools have been invaluable to me in my working life. One example was when a new member of staff joined the team, there were a lot of issues trying to deal with them, and there was a lot of issues between the seniors and this member of staff. And there were several points when they'd come to me and say, let's go talk to Ross about it, let's see what he has to say about it. And I was surprised because at that point I was probably about 10 years younger than everyone else in the team. I recently started the company. But it made me think perhaps this is what real education really equips us for. Perhaps it's not so much knowing how to deal with certain technical issues or how to deal with that, but rather how to deal with the relationship with your bosses, the relationship with your colleagues, and how to apply that knowledge which you've learned in education to your working life. It has been this biblical education which has taught me how to view my employers. Okay, I see it like this. We serve our bosses, but their boss is God, whether they like it or not. So really in our work and in how we act, we should be aiming to please God first and foremost. And it's only when we're pleasing God that the rest falls into place. And I've noticed is when you please God, when you aim at serving God first and put serving your bosses second, suddenly you're serving your bosses in a much more meaningful way, and they notice it. So let me encourage you, those of you who are homeschooling or teaching in schools, and this day-to-day grind of goal checks and scoring and staying after school and maybe dealing with some children who have behavioural issues, what you are doing is making such a big investment in the young people you're working with. And for this, and on behalf of all the other students and ex-graduates, I just want to say thank you to each of you. Thank you.